Okay, summaries. So in the first chapter, we talked about I don't know what to call it, the verse? It's not a verse. The line, Lecha Dodi, about welcoming the bride. Let's go welcome the bride. This is let's meet the bride, let us welcome the Shabbos. So we compare the bride to Shabbos. The bride is compared to Shabbos, and the Chassan, we don't know what he's compared to in that context, but there's Hashem, Chassan, the Jewish people, Kala, and in the spheres that we mentioned briefly, you have the 6 higher spheres are what we call Zah, and that's the masculinity. You have Malchus, which is the femininity. And this is an example of like Shabbos and the rest of the week. And what happens on Shabbos is that Shabbos is the day that blesses the rest of the week. But it's the Malka, it's the queen, it's the female. And then he goes through like the process of a wedding. So you have like the Kabbalas Panim, everyone comes and they meet the Chassan, then together. The reason we all walk with, or all the men at least walk with the Chassan is because he's doing it's a big deal to go and meet his bride, so he needs support. So he has a bunch of people coming to help him. And then they make an initial like connection over there where he covers her face. And then they go together to the chuppah. And you have a chassan who comes with his love to the kala comes with her love to the chassan. Love is all encompassing, it surrounds the other partner. And together they go into a chuppah, which is a love that is greater than both of them, that surrounds them. Yeah, so that was the first chapter. And he mentions at the end that the reason the chassan covers her face is because before there's going to be this really intimate connection that happens under the chuppah, there needs to be an external connection. So that's the significance of covering her face. I don't know why, but that's just like an outside connection. In the second chapter, we spoke about why do we need this external connection, and he brought 2 examples of a teacher and a student that before Rabba would talk to his students, and we're talking about a mashpia and a makabel, where the mashpia is infinitely greater than the makabel. So in order for them to have a intimate connection, there needs to be they need to like get leveled. They need to level each other out. So the mashpia lowers himself to the student. So the teacher would give a comical opening, and you see speakers a lot. They always open with like a story to bridge the gap between our speakers today. We're not going to say they're infinitely greater than their crowd, but it still creates this, there's now a container for them to, that's what we were using, right? He brings them into his space. That was one example of Rabbah with his students, and then after they would lighten the mood, now he can start delivering his great wisdom, and there was someone to able to accept it.
When you were talking about the love, is that like what the Mamish is talking about? The Mamish is like love? Talks about that?
Yeah. Well, at least they translate it as love. It says
really?
kavod, and they say the love.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because we were all deeply in love at our weddings.
Right. That's a good point.
After 1 or 2 dates. But the potential was there.
The encompassing love is the equation of like the synergy of the 2 loves, or is it like outside love that the represents?
I think when the 2 come together, that I think creates a love that's even greater. He says it about the Yidden and the Eberster, when we like connect with him, when he comes down with Matan Torah, connected with us, and we connect with him, then there's a greater thing than that level of God. There's I don't know what that means, but something even greater is greater. But we'll bring it into us, because when we talk about like God and the Jewish people, it gets a little lost. But Yeah, that may sound Chinese, but you'll get it soon. It's all about us. God, Jewish people, male, female, it's all happening within one system. He does, in the next chapter, he does say, we'll get there. Yeah. So then there was another mashal of a father that wants to play with his child, or a mother even. Doesn't matter, but the kid's a baby and the mother's really tall and like there's no like connection, so she bends down, or he bends down, and lifts up the child. Now they're face to face. Now they can start having an intimate connection. Hakuchi mochi lupi, whatever. Get the kid to laugh. There's some like soul connection there. But before the picking him up, it's just an external connection. So, yeah. So we need to have that connection. And then I was saying last week that even within our own system, we have our male and our female, our receiver and our giver, and we're oftentimes in a state where we're weak or whatnot, and it takes a higher self, a higher consciousness to not start, yelling at my broken pieces. Let's wake up. We're gonna get strong. It's like wait. Connect with me first. First connect with me on my level. Bend down. Recognize my brokenness. Acknowledge it. Make sure that now it's like safe for you to give your great wisdom of like how we're gonna get out of this mess.
Are you talking about yourself?
Within just yourself. Not to like go all out, we get down on ourselves, like, oh, I'm not being perfect. Start beating ourselves up, like, this is I'm going to call it the feminine part of me that's a little bit broken, and then I have my male part that's whole. Okay? And within the female, there's also the male part that's whole, and her feminine part that needs something. Because the male represents wholeness, he doesn't need anything, he just is there to give. The truth is that if he has no one to give to, he's not really a male. He's not. There's no king without a nation. So without having someone to give to, there is no giver either. So the giver's whole identity is dependent on someone to receive. So it's not a hierarchy in any way. On the contrary, from that union of the male, the female is what makes is what creates. The male gives to the female, so the female can now produce something that's even greater than both of them. So within our own system, we have that. We have our brokenness. It's weak. It needs help. It needs someone to lift it up, and then we can come very strong, and say like, yeah, let's go, let's do this, and that's not how it's received. The receiver they'll deny it. It'll be sorry, like, whoa, this is way too strong. Back off, man. You have to approach me on my level and connect with me where I'm at. Once that connection is there, now we can have a deeper connection because it's safe. The container was created for safety. So, yeah, that's what I'm understanding from that part.
What does that look like when you meet yourself, meet the feminine side of yourself?
Exactly like that. Exactly like that.
Compassion and grace.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not to power through it.
Yeah. We'll do it in the after party. We'll get into it's pretty much therapy, just regular whatever. What seems like everyone's, at least in whatever, the people I hang out with, we're all just doing all this stuff. Trying, I don't know what we're doing, running in circles.
No, we are actively healing. There's just a lot of it to get.
Yeah. We're clearing out a lot of schmutz. Supposedly it's finite. There's an end to it. I read it in a book. It said it's finite.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, it has to be. It has to be. It's darkness, and like you bring in more light, and you take out more dark and more.
We're constantly here. We're not making the same mistakes, but I feel like as living people, we encounter new situations and we screw up more. So
Like always available mistakes.
there's always available things to heal. Yeah.
That's how it seems like it's been so far, but I'm optimistic that at some point, like,
No, but it does
there's
get-
peace. There's somewhere there's
It gets
peace.
easier. It gets lighter. I don't think there's an end.
I think there's a I think there's healing your past, and then there's like dealing with current life. Healing your past, I'm sure, is finite because you can.
Because it happened in a
Yeah.
finite time. Like, it
And
can't be
now
on.
dealing with current challenges, it's like, yeah, the challenge will always come, but it's
Yeah,
now you can deal with it.
but that's not trauma.
Right.
You're not
Like, that's
working
not,
as hard.
Yeah.
Like-
the vibration, unless you deal with the vibrations of these things, then it can still continuously vibrate.
What does
Or-
that mean, the vibrations?
The energetic vibrations, that's also like that's like how your body falls into trauma and your body, like the quantum physics of it.
Cool. Big
What
words.
is that? I always hear the word vibrations, but I don't know what it means.
So
It's
when
energy.
energy, when it hits me, it just has a continuous vibration. It never ends. It
Oh,
never
I see,
stops.
I see.
That's why our bodies can get stuck in something. That's why our bodies can hold trauma and things don't are just continuously
It's not
connected to that
vibrating. I
right
see.
until it gets released.
I see.
Oh, wow. Wow, that's mind blowing.
That's why that's part of like body work or emotion code and things like that. But it's also part of healing. Like besides that, like therapeutic healing, whatever kind of healing you do, to release those those vibrations and create positive connections and vibrations associated with it.
Okay, you're saying it like as if it's nothing, but it's a huge, like, hello.
Because I'm like I'm
It's just like the sound never ends until you don't
Yeah, but that's
take
how
care
it
of it.
works.
It's
Like
like
if you think
vibrating in
about
your body.
have you ever looked into quantum physics? That's how quantum physics also
Oh,
works.
no, I do it on a daily basis before I eat breakfast. I look into quantum physics.
From
Same.
yeah, that's
Probably tell, ditto.
All right.
Yeah, look at it.
Okay, here we go. So we're starting chapter 3.
I want to hear more about vibrations.
How are you supposed to
I know.
if you look into quantum physics? I don't
It's
know
just an
how to
interesting
even say
conversation.
it.
It's just cool. It's like so big. I'm so glad.
Yeah,
You're like
what
this
you
is
said.
never like this knowledge can never end. And it's like I don't understand half of what I'm reading. The little bit it's like it's a cool concept. Like it reiterates the real truth of what the truth of the world is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so cool because it's science. It's fact. I mean, whatever.
Science
Yeah.
is, yeah, but
It's science. It's like it's not just philosophy, and it's not just intangible things.
right.
It's for real.
It's nice that you can understand it. And what you said, I love it. It's so soothing.
Okay, I'm going to read. And we'll talk. Okay. V'zeu t'chsiv anochi tergati l'Ephraim kachem azaresev. It says in Hosea, I sent to Ephraim and took them upon my arms. So this is going back to the mashal of the father picking up his child. So Hashem says that he went to Ephraim, which is the Jewish people, and I lifted them up. So Anochi, which represents like Hashem himself, not one of the names that are alluded to something, but I lowered myself. This is that initial connection to the Jewish people by giving them mitzvahs. And through the mitzvahs, they can make this connection to me. So that I can raise the souls of the Jews. Should I go off on a tangent here about Anochi? Later. Okay, Dihine. Ha'adam oilam katan. The person is a microcosm. He's a small world. So back to what we were saying before. Your body is everything on a small scale. And you have everything in it that you see all around you. Like the big world with all the galaxies. That's very nice on a macro level, but it's all happening in a micro level within every person. Just like in the world, there's night and there's day. Yoimam v'layla k'meshakasov, gam ki'esha b'chosheach havaya early. So also in the person you have night and you have day. And God created light, and when the light goes away, there is no dark. Like he called the darkness night. So also spiritually there's light and there's dark. Like it says, though I sit in darkness, God is light unto me. So there exists darkness and light spiritually as well. What is darkness? That is this world, the world that we live in. So when this world is called as darkness, it's night, because it's a false world. Just like at night, you don't see where you're standing. You could be standing in front of a big pit or some other obstacle that can hurt you, and you would have no idea. You're in the dark. So too in this world, a person doesn't know what's in his friend's heart. It could be that someone's showing him lots of love and telling him that he loves him, but in his heart it's a completely different story, and you would have no idea. It's a false world. And that's why this world is called the dark world and the world of lies. And the world to come is called Olam Emes, the true world. And this world is called the false world. So even in this dark world, it says Havaya early, Hashem is my light. That even in this darkness, in this physical world which is so dark, God is my light. And this goes back to the other Maimar that we were learning. Elikim represents, he's using the word Havaya. Havaya is my light. Because we know Elikim is Teva. Elikim, the name Shem Elikim, it represents Teva. Let's take a matter. If anyone knows what I'm talking about, or I need to explain it all over. Okay. Elikim is the same gematria, numerical value as Hateva. So nature runs off the energy that is, it's all godliness. This isn't a contradiction to godliness, but it has a filtration system called Elikim, which makes it look like separate. It filters down the light so much that there could be there could be duality. Because God is all one. How is it possible that there's you and I don't know what's in your heart, really? Because of Shem Elikim, which filters down this infinite light represented by Shem Havaya to make separation. But Havaya is what gives us our light. So even in this dark world, we have Havaya, which stands for Haya Haya V'ya Kachad. He was, he is, and will be all at once. There's no duality in Havaya. It's higher than Teva, higher than nature. So V'zeo Ki HaChoshech Yichas Ha'eretz Shehim Yoidim Rak In Yonim B'Teva Aval Alayich Yizer Havaya Shulam Eilam Teva. So all we know is Teva. All that we can see is just this darkness. That's what we see. But upon you, the pasuk is saying, Hashem will shine. He will give us His light. Okay, that's all very nice. And now he's going to explain what it means in actual practical service. About Voida, what does this mean to us in our day-to-day? Huda kasher nishmas adam es pashetes boy, var kayach nishmas me'ir alai, az in nikar yom. When a person's soul is on fire and it's expanded within his whole body, then it's called light. And this is, I guess, refers to, I think it refers to our male side, our male aspect, our true self. I would just call it God, like when we're in that state of seeing the truth and being truthful, and then it's light. It's all pleasant and nice. When we're not filled with this light, we're in our brokenness, then there's darkness. It's called dark, like night. At night, it's a sleep state. Machmas yistalkus are nafshay, because at night a person sleep. What happens? His soul leaves his body, and he's in a sleep state. And in the morning, God gives him back his soul, gives him back his life, and then it's beautiful. It's morning. Like it says that they are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness. And I think that means the faith that God has in us, that we get back our soul every day, to have a brand new day. That hasn't happened before. The reason we may wake up with like stress from the day before is because, unfortunately, we live off memory. This is how our traumas really work. We learned to predict what's going to happen based off the past, and so we repeat the same patterns. But the truth is, the past really doesn't affect the future. It's just because we're running off memory. So, like, when this happens, that happens, and we like make sure that it happens. But if you woke up every morning fresh, knowing this is a brand new day, and just connected with our breath and our body, and not like what our mind is telling us is going to happen and what will be. We're always predicting, which keeps us alive, because if we drove every time like it was brand new, yeah, we drive off a cliff probably just once, and then we couldn't do it again. So it keeps us alive, but it's also our limitation of running off our memory and not giving everything a brand new perspective each day as if it never happened before. Just on a side note. Yes, sure.
So we're talking about the male, the male part of ourselves, which is, I guess, wholesome and only, only like good and soul, and then there's that part of us that's like the broken child, and you mentioned that you can't have the male without the female. You need to have, so it's like we need to have that brokenness in order for us to shine, I guess.
It's way more than that. It's for there to be a baby and to be birth and to be growth. You need both of these components. So beyond our pain and our brokenness, when we connect with it and allow it to just be and feel, there's always something greater than even the male that's meeting the pain. Something greater comes out of it. So and in our physical muscle, we have male and female. The male meets the woman. Together they can have a baby. So yeah, you need the feminine side and you need the male side. It's also why God even created creatures alone. It's all perfect. It's solid. It's whole. Why even make this whole system? Because He gets something even greater than Himself out of it, and that we bring to Him. But don't look at it as if like, there's God and there's no, like within just us. That's the idea. Like, and then the way it plays out, and maybe it's like, I think the mashal is like, there's Hashem. He gives us the Torah, and He gives us something to connect to, and like when and the nimshal is like us, like, but there's no difference between the mashal and the nimshal, because they're all doing it at the same time.
No, it helps me understand.
Like, why do a mitzvah?
Yeah. That really just clicked for me.
Yeah.
It's something even greater, like the nachas that we give Hashem, something greater than.
Yeah, we're not doing Him a favor.
Right.
You don't have a baby to do your husband a favor. Like, I'll give you something back because you gave me. Like, no. What?
I don't get the connection with the mitzvah.
This everything's emotional. So really on a more spiritual scale and physical scale. That what like he was just saying about the brokenness. No problem.
Breaking all the rules.
Okay.
You're going to be on the podcast. I'm kidding. Yeah.
Greater than themselves, that could even create a baby. It's greater than both a man and a woman. So when he was saying that Hashem, when we come to God as Hashem's wife and whatever, and we do a mitzvah, that's loving for Hashem, we create something even greater than us and God. Then something even greater comes out than God Himself. God gets, it always says that Hashem gets some kind of nachas when we do a mitzvah or whatever. Why did Hashem create this world so we could give Him nachas? It's not nachas. It's something so great when we meet God as a married wife to God, whatever. Do you guys know what I'm saying? Something greater comes out of it, like an even greater love we can't even imagine. Something greater than God Himself.
Wow.
God needs us, basically.
Absolutely.
He needs us.
That's
just
literally what
helps
it
me
says in
understand
Exodus, yeah.
But when you say God
Yeah,
needs
yeah,
us,
like through this mashal of a man and a wife
Absolutely.
getting married, it just helped me understand that concept.
Also, like, what I also got from it is also like, which I need to realize like when we do it, so it's not about like anything else rather than we're like as a loving wife connecting in a language we might not understand. Like we don't understand the love language, it's fine. But anyway, bringing the flowers, even if I don't get why.
Mm.
You know. And then that's the love. I think that greatness is the like the great huge love and bonding.
When it's a love you don't get.
Yeah, but like that's the like you said, the huge thing is like a bonding love, right?
Yeah.
And like that's what makes sense to me.
Yeah, no, it makes sense to me too.
Wow, mind blowing.
I wanted to say one thing about like the stories we tell ourselves, like the memories.
Yeah.
Then we create the pathways for the same cycle to happen because the energy, back the energy,
Yeah.
remember it. But we can use it for like it can be used as long as it's working for us. As soon as it's not, that's when we have to stop. So like driving the car works for us, it's fine.
Right.
You just have to like it's like anything like this. If it's working and it's positive, and you do it until it's not, and then
Right.
we're like, oh, crap, gotta change.
Right. I'm talking, yeah, for sure. Like we're gonna use it. We know how to walk because we learned that
Right.
a long time ago. But in the way of not being present anymore, we're just like running off memory. We're not even here. It's just like there you start to like you lose out on life itself because you're not living in this moment. You're just running off memory.
Yeah.
But yeah, for sure we need our memory. Yes. Okay, he's going to talk about mitzvahs in a second, and we'll talk more about it. But love all the commentary tonight, shkoyach, because yeah, I'm learning it for the first time with you guys. Okay. Yes. So what are we saying here? Yeah. So when a person's sleeping, okay, I was talking about faith over there for a second. Yes. Every morning, at nighttime, it's a sleep state. Because it's a mashal he's giving out, like a physical mashal. You go to sleep, your soul leaves, you're in sleep state. So also spiritually, like when your soul is not present, then you're in the darkness. So why so physically we don't really feel all the time, or even when we do, it's on a very small level, the light of our soul. We're mostly just humans, physical, and busy. I'm so busy, I don't have time to breathe, like busy with physical stuff. So that's because the body is so coarse, it's so physical that we don't even feel ourselves. We all we mostly just are.
But that's
Yeah.
the saddest part. When the second I'm not busy, I freak out. I had 5 minutes today on the porch. I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? Okay, no, I have to go. I have a job that I need to finish. Crazy! Oh, I can't breathe. Breathe for a second. And I told myself,
Yeah.
relax, play a game with the kids. That's what I ended up doing. I gave them rides. Then, you know, I should take a minute to be proud. Yeah, I didn't run to do what my mind was telling me to. I gave them airplane rides.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
But even that, I had to do something. So I had to give them
Yeah.
rides.
So you see, you were mashpia to your kids, but you were the one that gained from it. You had a moment of, I don't know, maybe.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
No, that's the idea. Must be on my
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait, say that, what do you mean the mashpia gains from giving, you're saying?
She went to her makabels, and was like, "Oh, I'll give you guys rides," and they want the rides, but who gained from this interaction?
Both sides, I guess.
Both, but maybe even more than mashpia,
Interesting.
because she would have been freaking out. The kids would have been playing anyhow.
Scrubbing for like
So.
houses slowly.
No, that I don't do.
Yeah.
This is funny because your story brings up, I came home from camp, I just laid flat on the couch, and like feeling really stupid, like I should be giving my kids dinner, or putting out art for them or something. I'm just like laying on the couch, whoops, and the kids were like, what was that? The kids, the kids were like they're just bringing their toys, like playing by the couch next to me.
So
Kids
cute.
with her dolls. I know, but you're like, why can't I just sit? And I'm like, oh, I'm sad today. Maybe it wasn't such a bad thing to do. To just like lay on the couch. Just to be. Ugh, it's
Yeah.
a terrible feeling. yeah. I don't know.
But
Just
why
be
is it
okay
done?
with it,
Yeah.
to be okay with it.
Exactly.
It's the same way that you need to run.
Yeah.
I was thinking, it's easier to talk about you, but like, I'm also like,
Yeah. It's also like our generation is very much like, I feel like technology made us run for our life.
Yeah.
Like, we can't just sit and, that's why I love Shabbos, because I have permission to sit and stare at them.
Yeah.
Also, I think that, also, I think that in our minds, like, success is productivity, which is,
Right?
activity
what is
equals
productivity?
doing.
What, you could sit and breathe and think, and that's super productive.
Yeah, like I'm only
Sleeping is
worthy if I
productive
keep
because
moving.
Yeah. I feel like that's what she was like from the past. I feel like that's what we were brought up with. I don't know. Like the martyrdom, like always having to move and do, and otherwise like the world's gonna stop turning.
hustle.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, I
the
say.
world will stop turning.
Otherwise, it wasn't something.
Like sometimes that's what it feels like.
If I don't cross off on my
It doesn't seem like you're like
that.
that. Like, how much you
So actually,
just like chill.
started
You're
with
just always
kneading
chilling,
the
and I see
carpet.
it.
I can't do shower. Shower's is too much stretch. Like I
Oh,
shower
it's
and like it's
always-
fine. I
always-
don't do it.
You
I
always
just
seem
breathe.
relaxed.
That's why
It's
deep
like,
breaths are
man,
so
like,
great for me.
Imagine you could all be relaxed.
Imagine.
For 5 seconds, I
You're
can
right,
just
you know,
be.
relaxed.
Imagine you're.
I'm not. I'm like. I'm doing.
That's what
I'm
I'm
doing
saying.
something,
Like,
but also
like, it
being.
doesn't
I'm
seem
not
like you
running
have
from
this
my
like thing that you can
myself. I'm like, I'll get
to
there.
feel
It's
like
okay.
Yeah.
I'm doing a good job.
It's a long, lifelong.
Go read my journals. No, I'm kidding.
Unless it's just when you.
That's that's my tchunas hanefesh. I don't know, the quality of my soul. It's very relaxed. But don't worry, I got stuff going on. It's busy. It's busy.
It's a struggle.
It's busy.
It's a natural struggle. Like,
We're
Yeah.
literally in their kitchen.
Okay.
we're in their kitchen. What?
Vizehu. Asher. So we're talking about we don't feel.
That's what my house is called. The air conditioning is working really well.
We don't feel so much our souls because we live in a very physical body. Vizehu Asher neshama v'apay.
Thank you.
This is the meaning of the phrase.
If you have, yes.
Who has the soul in his nostrils? Dahainu, what does that mean? Da neshama alikis ein lo gilu b'liboy. V'gufay machmas chomer yesh l'saguf kivon shadayin lo yispalo. So this is, we're talking about the person who wakes up. Okay. The person goes to sleep, he loses his soul.
Did you invite them to the? It seems like they're interested.
We're having a competition and we're playing a game of chicken. Who's gonna put on blinds first?
I
Like-
just.
You guys are gonna. We will remain.
No, I think we're gonna win them.
No, joy and not needing to have blinds.
So the person wakes up, he gets his soul back, but he doesn't feel it because his body is so materialistic and so egotistical. So we right away write off we feel like, what do I need to do today? Because that's our ego. That's like, the world's gonna stop turning if I am not doing something. And why is that? Because the person hadn't prayed yet.
Wow.
He didn't pray. He didn't pray yet.
What does pray mean?
What does pray mean? The tefillah, hu inyan iskasha, is its connection. V'koydem ha-tefillah, hainu koydem she'adam iskasha, because before a person connects with godliness, don't get confused with godliness. With godliness. Okay, godliness, it's right here. Before he connects with godliness, with his higher self, with his true self, with his soul, with his God, through work, yeah? Before he connects So there's a pasuk that says, withdraw from man who has the soul in his nostrils, for with what is he deemed worthy? So separate from this man who has a soul. But it uses the word bameh, like, because with what is he worthy? So he says, don't read it bameh, read it bama. Bama is a podium, a stage. It represents ego, something that sticks out. So before a person davens, before a person prays and connects, and people pray all over the place. What we do in shul, going and putting on tefillin and saying Hebrew words, is some type of ritual, and without the spirit in it, it's just a ritual, and it's not spiritual, and it's not davening. It's I don't know, I guess like going to the gym, except that in the gym you gain something. Here,
Oh, you know,
You lose something.
you lose something.
Lose time.
Yeah, whatever. I don't know what it is. It's worth something, obviously, because
Hopefully you lose a few pounds.
it's worth something. But like, it's not
just
prayer.
religion,
It's not prayer. It's just religious rituals. It's rituals. We daven, we put on tefillin, we say all these Hebrew words. They meet. My mind is like, oh yeah, I'm somewhere else completely. But that's just what I do. So yeah, that doesn't bring you any closer to anything. At least in my experience of 34 years of davening that way. Occasionally, davening a different way totally connects, and there's totally a different experience. And it could happen simultaneously, so you could be wearing your tefillin and actually davening. It's not a contradiction. But I find that you can pray all day. And
It's not a
it's,
contradiction.
you could be Jewish and spiritual. It's actually not a contradiction. Counter to contra-belief that religion is all about just practicing some rituals. No, you could actually be spiritual.
No, that's a real religion.
So cool.
Hence what we're learning here. And what Chassidus tries to teach us and give us that, like, it's a spiritual practice. It's not just about, like, why is there a mimer explaining every mitzvah? Like, who needs an explanation? Just go put on tefillin, go do Pesach. No. We're going to give you a whole spiritual thing about leaving Egypt, which is your limitations and this world. No. And it's for what? Because that's what it's about. It's about the spiritual. Because without a spiritual practice, all you're filled with is anxiety and worry that if you don't pedal, the world is going to stop. And that's just miserable. So, end rant. But yes, before you pray, you're just a bama. You're a big stage of ego, and there's no connection. And so...
Is that a blanket of food?
Totally. No, it's a sweater, but you can still use it. Sweater?
I'm so hot.
Same.
For you.
Can you spread your feet around?
Okay. Ukashem sha'bama, just like a stage. So we're saying the person is a bama. Before he davens, before he prays, whatever word you want to use, before he connects to his source, he is a stage. He's big. He's very tall. His ego seems to be something like independent. It's its own being. So he's like this. He's a separate being, separate from God, separate from the truth, until he prays. Which is connecting. He's connecting to God, to godliness. Now what happens after that? Now the rest of the world becomes opportunity for more connection to God. So what do we do our mitzvahs with? With all these physical stuff. But if I'm still in my egotistical state and separate from God, then I can't positively take and do mitzvahs and make any connection between this physical item and godliness. If I'm so full of myself, not connected, like everything I do is just ritual, when I pick up that lulav and shake it, what am I doing for the lulav? Another ritual, so I take it, I make a bracha without any connection to God. There's doesn't do it. But if I wake up, I recognize that I woke up with my ego. I'm a stage. I'm my own thing. The first thing I do is I need to pray. Lower myself, lower my ego, connect to my source. Recognize that I don't know. Do I run I'm not sure. Maybe I run the world, but not from this place of ego, but from a place of responsibility, a place of gratitude, a place of an opportunity. Like I'm here, like for a purpose, and I allow that purpose to connect with me without like deciding what it is. Like my prayer is not me figuring out what I need to do. It's actually allowing the wisdom that's in the air to just enter my space by me being humble. And then with that energy, I can now start my day. And there's a lot of stuff in this world that are physical that I could connect with and bring that spirituality to it. And that's the physical kalim. They're all vessels for godliness, and they need me to bridge that. When I'm godly, I can bring godliness.
I think I'm gonna place nefesh right now.
Don't forget to come back. So what is this? So this internal connection with these physical items to infuse everything with godliness, that's a really intimate connection. That's that personal connection. That's under the chuppah already. That's the next stage. What happened before that? There was davening. So what is davening? Davening is actually so before I can make this really intimate connection and infuse spirituality in all of these physical items, I first have to have that external connection, that general connection that we spoke about earlier, coming and covering the face of the bride, picking up the child. Now what is that? That's my state of bittul, like lowering my ego. Like it says, a person can't daven when he's still full of himself, with hot-headed. He needs to lower his head. You lower your head, you go into a low state. Not a broken state. A lower of the ego state, a humble state. That's that first connection. And then I can start now having deep connections with the stuff all around me. This is Kayam, meet my bride. Care of Hamashpia ala Makabal. This is where the Mashpia comes to the Makabal. Hine Adeza Pnei Shabbos Nakaba. Through that, now now we can go and meet Shabbos. We go and meet Shabbos. The Chalayam of Sparchim Shabbos. All days are blessed from Shabbos. So we meet the bride, and then the bride gives. Shabbos gives to the rest of the week. Valderech Bashvas Ravat. The same way the teacher connects with the student. The Harbe Kibalti Mirabai said, it says, I got a lot from my teachers. Who did I get the most from? I got the most from my students. So the teacher comes in, he initiates the connection, he lowers himself, or raises the students to his level. But then what happens is that the students end up giving him more than he gives to them. And my mother, I think she listened to like the first class or whatever recently. She's like, from my children I got more than anything. So we get more from our kids. We're the big, giver to our kids. I need to take care of them. My kids need me. We need them. Like if we're going to gain anything, it's going to come through our kids. We gain a lot more than what we're giving. If we're doing this process of making these connections. It happens. Like, where do I know everything about myself? Like, from where? My kids. For my kids, they'll point out everywhere I have a weakness and help me through it. Not in a pleasant way, but that's how it is. It also says that, so he's bringing a lot of psukim that would show that where the mashpia makes the connection with the makabel, and then the makabel gives way more back. So Shabbos gives back to the week. The student gives back to the teacher. And the wife gives back to her husband. The wife is the crown of her husband. Higher than him. If someone finds a woman, he finds good. What does that mean? One who has found a wife has found goodness, and has brought forth favor from God, who is good. Wow. With the blessing, B'dor Yesharim, with the blessing of offspring that are upright and blessed, children and grandchildren who are occupied with Torah mitzvahs. So that's the wrapping up the whole matter. So yeah, that's what it means. That we go and meet the bride, and it gives this whole process. And the whole process of lowering the mashpia, lowers yourself to the makabel gives back, and that creates the children that are great children, which are greater, I guess, than the parents. Something much greater comes out of this union. And also within our system, back to where we started, when we meet our feminine side, and either lift it up or lower it, or meet it where it's at, and then make that unity with acceptance, then our pain ends up birthing something really, really great. That's even greater than that male energy that came in originally to fix the situation or whatever. And that is awesome, and that's a lot of work, but That's the gift. That's the gift.
Wow, so many lessons. I'm like, mine.
Oh, that was awesome. Go ahead. Like the other mimer, yeah.
When you get to the challenge, you have the
Yeah.
ultimate life.
Right. Something that you don't even know what you're getting.
And it's so large.
Yeah.
Whoa.
The teacher thinks he's giving something to his student, and all of a sudden he finds that he's gained way more than he had it
Right.
originally. And the husband is giving to the wife, but the wife ends up sitting on his head way higher, and you're like, whoa, thank you. You got it.
So in the context of like us being born into this world, like what's the I guess point? Like meaning like what's the give and take and what's the
So then there's God and his people. So, but I think to understand to really understand what God and his people do, you have to understand it within your own system. So it's also with Hashem. Hashem gives us mitzvahs. He's much higher than us. We're creations. He's infinite. We're finite. How does he bridge the gap? He's like, I'm going to give you a present. I give you a mitzvah. A mitzvah is not an obligation. It's an opportunity for a connection. That's what it is. It's connection.
Wow.
We're always like, oh, mitzvah is such a burden. Then don't do it, because that's not what it is. If you see it as a burden, please do me a favor. Take a break. Reevaluate the situation. If you don't want it, you don't have to. It's opportunity. That's what it is. It's an opportunity to connect with God. If your God of your understanding is a big monster, says, do my mitzvahs or I'll kill you, then find a new one, because that's idol worship. It's not Judaism, and I don't even know if it's any religion. Yeah, maybe there's some. But
What was that? Reflection.
I don't know. What do I do?
You're like, maybe there are some.
Maybe there is some, because I was thinking of, there are some, even like Judaism
Within the
has like this idea, but we're not a religion. We're not a religion. That's the point. We're like,
That's the whole point.
we're not religious.
We're not a religion.
We're not a religion.
We're a people.
We're yeah. What's the other word? What are we? We're a nation. We're a beautiful people with a great history and richness and love and opportunity. We're spiritual beings.
Opportunities and not.
well, the word
Not
mitzvah,
obligation.
the word
Right. We read that 1,000 times, yet somehow we lost the message. Tasa v'chibur.
means connection.
Connection. When I ask you, they always tell us, when I ask you to bring me water, I give you opportunity to connect with me. But for somehow they say it, but the fear was so much fear was instilled. If you don't,
I saw
you're
it
bad.
so clear
I'm
with
like,
my husband. My
it's garbage.
husband's like, with
Garbage.
Trudy and my son, who like wants to just be with him. He's like trying to find things to do for Schneier. He's like, can I bring you Sfarim? Can you do this? He's like, just so that he can like connect with him. Oh, yeah, so cute.
So that's it. And then who gains by that connection? So if you're coming with this approach of like, we do need God. The wife doesn't need her husband. But like, you come to my space. So that mitzvah is not me entering into your space. You're actually coming down, leveling with me. So that on an external level, so that we can have a connection. And what's born out of that? Something that's much greater than you yourself. So if there's like this big stick and threat that you need to do mitzvahs, you got it. Don't do it. Don't do it. It's not it. It's not it.
Maybe I
It's not it. You're not doing God a favor by suffering through his gift. Like, oh, I'll do you a favor. I'll take your flowers. Like, please don't take my flowers. Like, if it doesn't bring you joy, like, don't take it. I'm not here to just force on you my gifts. Take the flowers. You love them. No, like, if you don't like them, then like, I don't know.
Khalifa asked a good question. What is God?
What is God? Okay.
Next
What's the
part.
next